Today I'm going to be showing you how to build a villager trading hall for Minecraft 1.18 and above. This trading hall also includes zombie discounts, so you're able to zombify all these villagers and then re-transfer them to villagers to get extra cheap trades. You can use any villager workstations on this trading hall. The trading hall doesn't use any redstone whatsoever. Now I also might add as well that I am going to be showing you how to build another trading hall which does use redstone and does use pistons. Now also for this tutorial I'll be using this villager breeder. This is a nice source of villagers, so how I'll be getting them. Now if you want to build this, I'll have a card in the top corner which you can click on and you can build this villager breeder and then come back and build this trading hall. Even though if you already have a villager breeder then that doesn't matter, you can just use that one. Now the concept of this villager trading hall uses the fact that if there's a villager on top of a drip leaf, the drip leaf will drop the villager down. So I'll show you this right now. So at the moment it's in the powered state. So that means that the villager won't be dropped down by the drip leaf, and it's kind of like it's locked. Now if I unlock this drip leaf, the villager will drop down, and the zombie will hopefully see the villager and turn it into a zombie villager. Then I can power this again. Now it does take a few seconds for the zombie villager to sometimes jump up. Now that's the issue of this design, it does take a little bit of time. And so there we go, the zombie villagers jumped up. Now this design also won't always work on certain servers. So if sometimes zombie pathfinding or villager pathfinding is a bit slow on certain servers, such as maybe a larger multiplayer server, then this design may not work, just because the zombie villager will take way too long to jump up. But unlike Realms or a solo survival world, this design should still work. So now if you like to build any of these designs, there are timestamps in the description, so if you want to navigate through this video quite easily, you can do. Now next I'm going to be showing the item list for this farm. So for the first item list, this is for the drip leaf version. So I've also added some redstone dust here, just in case you want to change the level location, because sometimes having a hole down here is a bit awkward sometimes if the minecart falls down here and stuff like that, and having this sort of setup is a little bit more convenient in some cases, even though that does sometimes require some extra redstone dust. So this is the full item list. Now for this sword, you could also use an iron sword too, or anything like that, and the zombie right here will be picking up the diamond sword. Now this is the second item list. So this one contains the piston and redstone, so this one uses a lot more redstone based stuff, even though it's slightly faster and a little bit more reliable, because the villager is pushed up instantly, instead of you having to wait a few seconds for the villager to make its way upwards. Now the item list for both these designs is also in the description below as well. Now if there's a missing item in any of these item lists, the updated item list will be there as well. So now we're going to be starting off with this design, which is the drip leaf design. So now we're going to be building this pretty close to the villager breeder to make it easier to transport the villagers straight to the trading hall. Now the villagers will be travelling upwards in order to give you a lot of space to build this trading hall, and also so that zombies and other mobs can't get up here and start messing with your villagers. Now if you didn't know, zombies or any mobs like that won't be able to stand on rail. They won't be able to pathfind onto the rail. So now the villager trading hall we are building for this tutorial will be able to house up to 4 villagers, and it will house one single zombie and look a little bit like this trading hall. So now let's start off by building it. So we're going to start going on this side to build it. So now let's start this tutorial. So first we're going to get our building blocks, and we're going to find a nice little location. So let's build it quite close to the villager breeder for convenience, so that we don't have to use too many rails. So we're going to stack up 1, 2, 3, 4, and then break the 3 blocks underneath. Then from this block we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll have like a long line of smooth stone, or whatever building block you're going to be using. Now add an extra layer of building blocks going across in this direction. Then add some extra building blocks. So we're going to go 1 and then leave a gap, then another building block, leave a gap, another building block, leave a gap, another building block, leave a gap, and also your last building block right here. Then you're going to add some extra building blocks just on the end, then some additional building blocks. Now on the side of these building blocks, we're going to add some levers. Now you can also turn on these levers as well. Then right next to the powered blocks, we're going to place an extra building block, and this is going to be a temporary block. Then underneath we'll place a dirt block, and then repeat this for all the blocks that are powered. Now you can also remove the blocks on top of the dirt as well. Place a drip leaf on each of these dirt blocks. Now on the side of these drip leaf, place an extra block, just like this, so they're all next to the drip leaf, and this will stop the villagers from escaping. Then next to this dirt block, we're going to place a full block right here, and we're going to go across until we get to the dirt block on the other end. Then get some trapdoors and just place them in right next to these full blocks and the drip leaf, and then make sure they're all open. Place a full block on the side of each of these, and then shift click some full blocks into the side of these trapdoors, so that we have a little compartment to stop any of the zombies walking off or escaping. Now underneath these levers, we can add some extra full blocks just underneath to stop any of the villagers. If they ever fall down, they won't fall down to the very bottom and maybe get attacked by zombies or stuff like that. Now next, we're going to get our composters. Now place a composter on top of the powered blocks. Then place a temporary block on top of one of the composters. And then place a slab right next to this temporary block. And then carry on putting some slabs over these composters. Then on one of the sides, it could be any side whatsoever, place some full blocks right next to these slabs. And then do it on the other side too. Then add a line of full blocks going across, and this will stop the zombie from burning in the daylight. Now for each one of these gaps which don't have a drip leaf underneath, place a full block in right next to the slab, then use a temporary block on top of one of these blocks, and then place a block on top of the drip leaf. And this needs to have a 2 block gap between the block and the drip leaf. And now that's your villager trading hall pretty much done. Now next I'm going to be showing you how to build the piston based villager trading hall, which uses pistons to push the villagers upwards. Now I'm going to start off by getting our building blocks, and we're going to be placing a bunch of temporary blocks. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, then break the temporary blocks underneath, and we'll just have this singular block. Then from this block we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 across in this direction. Then from this side, fill in some blocks, and then fill in some extra blocks. Now then we're going to get some extra blocks, and we're going to place a building block here, and then leave a space, a building block there, and then an extra building block, and just keep leaving a space for all these compartments where the pistons will be. Then next to the spaces, we're going to add a lever on each of these ends, so that they're spaced apart with 1 block. Then put a temporary block just underneath all of these blocks, and then put a full block in place. And then break these temporary blocks, then place in some redstone dust, and some pistons. Now next to these pistons, we're going to be placing some full blocks. Now these full blocks don't need a gap in these edges, because there's going to be a zombie standing on here. Now place a full block on the end, and this is a temporary block, and put some blocks on the edge, and also put an extra block on the edge there. Then fill this all in, and then fill some extra blocks in on this end. Now where these holes are, we're going to add some extra blocks. Now to make this slightly easier, we're going to switch on all of these pistons, then put some trapdoors on the end of this all, and put some extra trapdoors throughout this corridor. Now on top of this redstone dust, we're going to put some workbenches just down here. Then place a temporary block just on top of one of the workbenches, and then next to this temporary block, place some slabs. Now we're going to be placing all of these slabs in a row, and break the temporary block and replace it with a slab. Then next to the slab, place 2 full blocks, and then put a row of full blocks, and this will stop the zombie from burning in the daylight. Now on these gaps where there's only a full block and not a piston, place an extra full block just on the top. Now put a temporary block on top of the slabs right here. Now where these pistons are, there'll be a 2 block gap where the villager will be, and we'll be placing a full block down. Then break the temporary blocks, and then your trading hall is pretty much finished. Now all you need to do is just get your zombie in place and your villagers in place. Now next I'm going to be showing you a method for getting your zombie in place. So before you try attempting to get your zombie in place, we're going to build a little setup. So start off by placing a temporary block and then a full block on the side. Then place a little staircase downwards so that the zombie can get up, and then you can break these back blocks. Now on this side, break a block and then also break this trapdoor. Then on the other side, just break a single block. Now add an extra block on the side. Now when searching for a zombie, you need to make sure that a zombie can pick up items. So one of these zombies might be able to pick up an item. So let's try this one. So that zombie is not able to pick up any items. I wonder if this one is. And this zombie can pick up items. So now we're going to be transporting this zombie back to the trading hall. Now if you're doing this and it's kind of getting close to daytime, then you can also give the zombie a helmet. And that'll stop it from burning. Now we are going to start transporting this zombie. So any other zombies, you can just kill them a bit like this. I somehow was able to one-shot them with a pickaxe. Not too sure why. Let's move on. So now when you get close to the trading hall, you're going to want to make sure that you'll have your blocks in your main hand, and it'll make it slightly easier to place all the blocks in when you're ready. So start moving. Now we'll go up this staircase. The zombie should follow. You have to do this step pretty quickly. Now go all the way to the end and place a block in place. Now then you'll have your zombie in place. Now this method is a little bit hard in some cases, because you have to hope that you don't get hit by the zombie at all while placing the block. And if you miss the block, then you're kind of like game over with that. But after a few tries, you should be able to get it. Now next we can break this block, and put a trapdoor down, back where it's supposed to be. And then break the side block staircase, a bit like this. Now next I'm going to be showing you how to transport your villager in place. So first we're going to be making a rail line. Now this rail line will make its way all the way from the villager breeder, all the way to the trading hall. And there we go, here is our little rail line. Now to start off with, we're going to be breaking one of these workbenches. So I'm going to start off by breaking this one. Now before we start putting a villager in place, we're going to add some extra blocks just on the end, and these will be temporarily, just to make sure that the villager doesn't end up in this section. Now you can expand your rail going in this direction. Now we can also add an extra block on the side, just so the momentum of the villager doesn't cause it to travel into this block and suffocate, because that could happen. Now with this villager breeder, it's quite easy to use and get villagers out of, because you can easily just put a minecart down and just power this rail. Now you're going to need to get your villager from a minecart, so whatever village breeder setup you're using, try and use one that's quite similar to this. Power the rail, and we've got a villager, and our villager will end up over here. Now what we can do is we can just push the villager right in the center. Now be careful, you can also turn on hitboxes to make it a bit easier by doing F3 and B. Now just make it easier so that you're not pushing the villager into a block. Now as soon as the hitbox is completely onto the drip leaf, you can break some of these blocks to get them out of the way. And now with the hitboxes, you can just break the minecart. A bit like this. Now the villager will take a little bit of damage, but that's not much of a problem really, because it's not too much. And you'll have your villager in place. Now if you'd like, you can remove the block back here. Now with this villager, we could just put a workbench right here, and the villager will claim it. And we'll be able to trade with the villager, and we can turn it into a zombie when we're ready. So now we have 2 villagers in place. So now if you want to zombify these villagers, to turn them into zombies, you have to flick this lever. You can flick both levers. Now the zombie will take a few moments just to pathfind to the villager. Now in some cases, the zombie will already be trying to pathfind to another villager. That's quite rare when that sort of thing happens, but it normally happens if you have like another trading hall in an opposite direction. So one way to combat this is to just unload the chunks and then reload the chunks. Now I've just unloaded and reloaded the chunks, which all I did is just run in the opposite direction so that I'm no longer in the area. And as you can see, all these villagers have been zombified and have turned into zombie villagers. Now what we can do to push the villagers back up to where they're supposed to be is we can just click on all of these, and the zombie villagers will make their way to the top. Then get a splash potion of weakness and just chuck it at your zombie villagers, and then give them both a golden apple. So now if you have any questions about this farm or need any help with it, make sure to join my Discord server or just leave a comment down below and I might be able to help you. On my Discord server, I should be able to help you pretty much straight away, unless I'm busy. So now there is one issue with this trading hall right now, and that is that you don't have any emeralds to trade with the villagers with, or you have no resources to trade with the villagers. So I've got a video just on the right here, which is to show you how to build a simple iron farm. Now if you don't know, you can trade iron with villagers to get emeralds. So if you'd like to do that, then make sure to check out that video. Now if you like to trade with farmers a lot, but you don't have any carrots or any potatoes, then make sure to check the video on the left, which will show you how to get those resources so that you can trade with your villagers and get tons and tons of emeralds. And I'll see you in the next video if you're going to watch any more of my videos, and goodbye.